Everyone knows the hits. Everyday people dance to the music, family affair. These aren't just songs, they are cultural moments. They feel like a big, beautiful party that everyone was invited to. But behind that party, there was a story. A deep, complicated family story. It's a story most people don't know. It's about more than just the music. It's about the blood, the bonds, and the breaks that made the music possible. To understand the funk, you have to understand the family. The real story isn't just about the bright lights of Woodstock or the charts they topped. It's about the quiet, powerful beginnings that shaped everything. The story starts not in a recording studio, but in a church pew. The Stewart family, Sylvester, Freddie, Rose, and Vieta, grew up in Vallejo, California. Their parents, Casey and Alpha Stewart, were deeply religious. They raised their children on gospel music. The church was their first stage. It was where they learned harmony, rhythm, and the power of music to move souls. This wasn't just practice, it was a spiritual education. They learned that music wasn't just notes and chords, it was a language. It was a way to communicate joy, pain, and hope. This foundation is the secret ingredient in every Sly and the Family Stone record. Sly, born Sylvester Stewart, was a prodigy. He was playing instruments before he could finish his homework. He had a vision that was bigger than just one sound. He heard gospel, rock, soul, and psychedelia all mixing in his head. His siblings were his first collaborators. Freddie brought the rock-solid guitar riffs. Rose had that powerful, soulful voice and commanding keyboard presence. Vet, or Vieta, and their cousin Mary McCreary anchored the background vocals. The family dynamic was their superpower. They could finish each other's musical sentences. They built a sound that was tight but loose, a perfect reflection of a real family. This family connection created something revolutionary. They weren't just a band, they were a unit. A multiracial, multi-gender group that looked and sounded like the future. Sly was the genius conductor, but the family was the orchestra. Their early music was pure joy. It was a celebration of unity and togetherness. Songs like Stand were more than just catchy tunes, they were anthems for a generation looking for hope. The music felt optimistic because at the beginning, they were a family taking on the world together, powered by love and a shared gospel rhythm. Little did they know how much that bond would be tested. Success came fast, maybe too fast. When Sly and the Family Stone hit the scene, they were a force of nature. Their performance at Woodstock in 1969 is legendary for a reason. It was an explosion of energy, a moment when their message of unity felt real, the world was watching, and they delivered. The fame was immense, the money was flowing, suddenly the family from Vallejo was on top of the world. But the higher you climb, the further you have to fall. The pressure that comes with that level of fame is intense. It can change people. And it did. The party couldn't last forever. Drugs entered the picture, especially for Sly. Cocaine and PCP fueled a growing paranoia. The creative genius who brought everyone together started to push them away. He became unreliable, missing shows and recording sessions. The family bond, once their greatest strength, started to fray. Loyalty was tested daily. Fights broke out. The joyful energy that powered their early hits was replaced by something darker and more cynical. The album There's a Riot Going On captured this shift perfectly. The music was still brilliant, but it was murky, tired, and full of pain. Rose Stone, the group's powerful matriarchal figure, also struggled. The chaos took its toll on her mental health. She was the anchor, the one who often tried to keep things together. But the constant conflict and Sly's erratic behavior became too much to bear. She needed to protect herself and her own peace. Eventually, she had to step away from the madness of the spotlight. Her withdrawal was a huge loss for the band. It was a sign that the family unit was truly breaking. Without her steadying presence, the group drifted further into disarray and conflict. The dream was unraveling. The band that preached togetherness was falling apart from the inside. The pressures of the industry combined with personal demons were a toxic mix. Sly became more reclusive, retreating into a world of suspicion and addiction. The family that once made music in perfect harmony was now caught in a cycle of arguments and mistrust. The beautiful sound they had created was being silenced by the noise of their own struggles. The revolution they started on stage was now a riot behind the scenes, and the casualties were the relationships that started it all. Behind the public drama of missed concerts and creative decline, there were deeper, more hidden troubles. The family's story became a tangled web of secrets. Sly's life, in particular, was shrouded in mystery. For years, Rumors circulated about children he had fathered but never publicly acknowledged. These weren't just tabloid stories, they were real people, living in the shadow of their famous father's legacy. The man who wrote Family Affair was at the center of a fractured family, with connections that were kept hidden from the world. These secrets added another layer of complexity and pain to the family's journey. Financial and legal battles also haunted them for decades. Bad deals, mismanagement, and Sly's own choices left them without the fortune they should have earned. They were fighting for royalties, for control of their own music. It was a sad irony. The group that created some of the most valuable music of the 20th century was struggling to make ends meet. Sly ended up living in a van at one point, a stark symbol of how far he had fallen. These legal struggles weren't just about money, they were about justice. They were about reclaiming a legacy that had been mishandled and, in many ways, stolen. Through all this turmoil, one person worked tirelessly to keep the family's true story alive, Vet Stone. While others retreated, Vet stepped forward. She became the family historian, the keeper of the flame. She understood that their story was more than just the rise and fall. It was about survival. She wanted the world to know about their gospel roots, about the love that started it all, and about the humanity behind the headlines. She has worked to preserve their history, sharing stories, and ensuring that the narrative wasn't just defined by the darkness, but also by the light. Vet's efforts are a crucial part of the Sly and the Family Stone saga. She provides a bridge between the glorious past and the complicated present. She reminds us that this is a story about people, not just icons. Her work is an act of love, an attempt to heal old wounds by telling the whole truth. She ensures that the contributions of Freddie, Rose, and the entire family are not overshadowed by Sly's genius and his struggles. She is fighting to make sure the complete legacy, the good, the bad, and the beautiful, is remembered and honored. Healing is a long road, but it's not an impossible one. For the Stone family, redemption didn't come from a big reunion tour or a chart-topping comeback. It came in quieter, more personal ways. Freddie Stone, the band's foundational guitarist, found his way back through faith. He returned to the church, the very place where their musical journey began. He became a pastor, channeling his energy into his community. His journey from rock and roll excess to spiritual service is a powerful story of renewal. It shows that it's possible to find peace after the storm has passed. The family's musical DNA lives on. A new generation of Stewarts is making music. Sly's daughter, Novena Carmel, is a talented artist and DJ, carrying the torch with her own unique sound. The family's influence is everywhere. You can hear it in the work of Prince, D'Angelo, Outkast, and countless others. Artists today still look to Sly and the Family Stone for inspiration. They study their arrangements, their grooves, and their fearless message of unity. The band may have dissolved, but their spirit is immortal. Their music continues to be the soundtrack for change and celebration. When you look at the whole story, you see the real revolution wasn't just the music. The real revolution was survival. It was about a family enduring fame, addiction, betrayal, and loss, and still finding a way to heal. It's a profoundly human story. They showed us how to make beauty from pain, how to create anthems of joy, even when surrounded by chaos. Their music is so powerful because it contains all of it, the highs and the lows, the love and the heartbreak. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the unbreakable, if complicated, bonds of family. So, the next time you hear hot fun in the summertime, think about what's behind that groove. Think about the church hymns, the family rehearsals, the Woodstock stage, and the quiet struggles that followed. The legacy of Sly and the Family Stone isn't just a collection of great songs, it's a lesson that the most beautiful music often comes from the most complicated places. It's a reminder that every family has a story, and sometimes if you listen closely, you can hear it in the music, and their music will play on forever.